Good morning, Sploresville. I hope you had a nice weekend. I did somewhat. I have the sniffles. Thank you for asking. Given the amount of email that's come in over the weekend, I feel like it's a good time to address what happened last Friday, and I mean the flooding of the basement of Sundries and Such, Sally Ferguson's store on Weston, Maine. I don't think it's fair to say that anyone in particular was at fault for the rush on toilet paper Saturday morning and continuing into Sunday. I think I speak for all of us in saying that it doesn't matter what happened exactly, but we should focus on what happens next. Interestingly, though, I was at Dez's picking up milk and I ran into Sally, and she said that the buying of toilet paper broke down much along the aristocratic lines of Sploresville. Brian Zyk came in first and bought all the 3-ply toilet paper, the one that has the lotion built in. The Zyks, of course, are an establishment here. Ethel, his grandmother, is the only person to have a name engraved on a park bench in Jefferson Park. Unless you count the graffiti, which I don't, especially the misshapen genitalia carved into the bench right next to Ethel's name that supposedly belongs to someone named Jack. Ethel Zyk, if you don't know, became a bit of a hero during World War II. She would bake little cookies in the shape of bottles and bring them across the river to the workers at the bottling plant. She didn't have much of an imagination, but a big heart. The Zyks didn't make their money off bottle cookies, obviously, but Brian's father would trail along with his grandmother and had a bit of an entrepreneurial spirit. Bottles, though, were part of it. Brian's father would steal lotion from his grandmother's cupboards, hand lotion, and rebottle them, because the workers' hands would get very dry during the winter months, and he would sell them. Ethel's husband, Grayson, everyone called him Gray, would often remark on how quickly his wife seemed to use up lotion. He called her Bonnie, and he would say, "Bonnie's so lotioned up she better not go swim in the river, because she'll create an oil slick." In any case, Brian's father built quite a business, servicing all the needs of the bottling plant workers over time, and Brian was the heir. So, as it was on Friday morning, right when the news started to spread about the flooding in the bottom of Sally's store, Brian Zyk showed up and he purchased all of the 3-ply lotion toilet paper. Sally, who's spent a lifetime in retail, knows how to be nosy in the politest possible way and asked, "What are you planning to do with all that toilet paper?" And Sally told me that Brian looked at her right in the eye and he said, with a wink, "You'll see." Sally felt, and I agree, that this is an odd thing to say when you're buying toilet paper in such quantities. There are very, very few things that you want to see that involve large quantities of toilet paper, and the wink really pushed it over the edge. As the day went on, what Sally started to think was that Brian meant that everyone would be making a rush on the store. And that's, of course, what happened, as you know. And partially this is because of the late snow this spring, and secondly, because of the geographical peculiarity of where Sploresville sits. Most of us realized at some point during that day that shipments of sundries could be delayed as much as a month, and that Sally's store really was the epicenter of supplies for the entire town. But out of all the sundries, toilet paper became the real story by the end of Friday. Everyone knew what Brian had bought by that point, because Sally's not exactly a vault, so to speak, and the stragglers at the end of the day were forced to buy paper towels, and I'm not talking the kind in rolls. I'm talking the kind that are in packets that are wrapped in a brown paper, the sort that you'd see in a cafeteria at a school. I saw Evan Foster walking out with a couple of those packets at around 6 p.m., and he said that's no way to wipe an ass. And I should mention that Evan, always one step ahead, started a crafting podcast this weekend. It's a series of crafts that you can do with the ends of the toilet paper, and I'm talking about the little rolls, the cardboard rolls of toilet paper, which he assumed that everyone would be awash with at some point. His first project, which I think is kind of ingenious, was a DIY gerbil tunnel that he used to connect his gerbil cage to his neighbor's gerbil cage. And this is between 2 second-story windows, by the way. I urge you to tune into his podcast to find out more details. As of this morning, however, I can tell you what Brian's wink was all about. He donated all of his 3-ply lotioned-up toilet paper to the Sploresville school. The school superintendent, Julia Chambers, asked me to pass along a note as to whether any of you had experienced retrofitting. Specifically, the dispensers that the school currently uses are equipped for the single ply, the kind that we all grew up on. And there's a bit of difficulty with the new size of the rolled toilet paper. And if you could, urge your children not to dunk them into the toilets themselves and use them as a sort of a snowball, which is becoming a trend at the school today. That would be helpful. That's it for today, and as for tomorrow, I leave you with the Sploresville motto, let's find out.